everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. So today I'm going to be making two delicious pies. I'll be making a pumpkin pie and an apple pie for Thanksgiving. And these are raw, no-bake pies, and they're all natural ingredients, so you don't have any flour, no eggs, no unnatural, unhealthy fats. It's all healthy ingredients, and it's mostly nuts and seeds. And fruit, that's what we're using today for our pies. So we're going to start off with our pumpkin pie. And for our pumpkin pie, for the crust, you're going to need only 4 ingredients and a food processor, and it's very easy to make. So we're going to start off with 2 cups of almonds, and try to soak and drain your almonds before you use them. In this case, I only had 1 cup that was soaked and drained that I had left in the refrigerator, so I had to use the other cup with just unsoaked raw almonds, but that's okay. You could do either or. So you're going to put the 2 cups in your food processor, and the next ingredient is going to be you're going to use 1 cup of dates. In this case, because my dates were hard, they had hardened up in the pantry. I soaked and drained them, but you could use the soft medjool dates. You definitely do not have to soak them if they're soft. You're going to need some cinnamon powder and a little dash of salt. So we're going to start with our almonds in the food processor. Oh, is that plugged in? Yeah, it is. And we're going to start pulsing our almonds. Okay, once you pulse them a little bit, that's pretty good. We're going to start dropping our, okay, so I was going to drop the dates in there, but since they're kind of mushy because I soaked them, I'm just going to go ahead, open the food processor, and I'm going to put the spices in, and well, I'm going to put the cinnamon in. So it's going to be about 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Because, well, actually, I'm sorry. Let's try half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon. We don't need that much in there. And a little pinch of salt. And the salt is optional. You guys don't have to put that in. But I noticed that it just brings out the sweetness of the dates and the almonds. So just a little pinch of salt is good. Now, I'm going to drop my dates in there, because like I said, they're kind of mushy, but I'm going to drop only half of the cup, and I'm going to pulse that. Oops. Okay, just pulse this. That looks good. Oh yeah, that worked fine. So now we're going to put the other half in there, and out of the way. And we're going to pulse this some more. So when it slows down like that and you feel your processor is kind of slowing down, just bring the sides down a little like this. And pulse it a little bit more. So it doesn't need to be mixed in a lot. You just want to make sure that, because the dates is kind of stopping it a little bit because they're kind of wet, so they're turning into kind of like a little hard glue. But hopefully we don't have to do this that much. All right, I think that's going to be good. All right, so this is what it looks like. So that's our crust. We have our, so it's kind of like a little sticky crust like that, almond date crust. So what we're going to do, we're going to get our pie pan here, and we're going to take the S-plate out. We're going to pour that in just like so. Oh yeah, I see that some of my pieces, my almond pieces, didn't get very well pulsed up. They didn't get pulsed up very well. So you can see I have little chunks of them. So before you pour the dates, and you guys do this, which I don't mind, it doesn't bother me. But before you guys do the dates, just post the almonds a little bit more. But for the video sake, I'm trying to do it a little bit quick. So what you do is you just put the whole crust in there and you start pressing and press it all the way up to the sides. Finish the crust, and here it is. As you can see, there's big chunks of almonds. Make sure you guys post the almonds a little bit more fine. You want them well ground up and post before you put the dates in there. But yeah, this is not that bad. It's you can still see those chunks of almonds, but it's still gonna be delicious. So this is the crust, and it takes a little couple minutes to keep pressing it and bringing it up to the sides. You want it up on the sides, and with both hands, one hand you want to press in, and with your other hand, with the finger, just slightly push down, because you kind of want, I think it's about ½ inch of that crust on the sides. You want it thick. Some of the areas it's pretty thin, but you want it kind of thick up there, because you want your pumpkin pie to be, you want it to look exactly like a baked pumpkin pie and taste as well. Okay, so now we're gonna do the filling, and for this you're gonna need a high-speed blender. You're gonna need a small sugar pumpkin, and they sell them everywhere in the grocery stores right now for the holidays. So they're those little tiny pumpkins that you buy, and they're super sweet, and they call them sugar pumpkins. So what you do is you peel it, cut it, and dice it up and soak it overnight in water. So you need that, and that's 1 cup, okay? I got that in there. Now you're gonna need a whole cup of, let me measure, make sure I have it, of soaked cashews. Make sure you soak them for about 4 hours and drain them. And this is what's gonna make it creamy. So you're gonna need about a cup. Let me see. Hold it up to the light. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think I had a cup in there. Just making sure. So a cup of soaked and drained cashews. You just soak them for 4 hours, and that's fine. You're gonna need about 2 cups of soaked and drained dates as well. And if you have medjool dates, don't bother soaking them. I just had the harder dates. They weren't the medjool ones, so they were kind of hard, and I had to soak those. And you're gonna need 1 cup of water, and this is the water I soaked the dates in because it's kind of sweet, and I want it sweet. So we're gonna put that in the blender. Oh, that already looks really good. And you're gonna put, so that's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 ingredients, 5, 6 ingredients for the filling only, okay, with the water. So now you're gonna need 1 teaspoon of pumpkin spice, and basically what pumpkin spice is, it's a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger powder. So all that makes the pumpkin spice. So you're gonna put 1 whole teaspoon in there for the filling. I think that was a teaspoon. Yep, teaspoon. And next we're gonna need 1 tablespoon of psyllium husk, and that's this psyllium husk. So it's basically just fiber, and a lot of bakers use it to bake their goods, so it could bind the dough and the flour when they're baking. So in this case, we're using it so it could bind the filling, the inside of our filling. So we're gonna put 1 tablespoon of that in there, a psyllium husk, and you find this in your house stores or anywhere in your supermarket. So it's a fiber, and it's pretty good. I only use it actually for this recipe. That's the only thing I use it for. So now we're gonna blend that, and we're gonna start on low and then go higher. Okay, so I had to stop the video for a little bit to get my tamper, and here we go. That's the pie filling, because I had to push all the ingredients down because I didn't want to put too much liquid in there. So there it is. It looks just like that. It peaks really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and taste this. Oh, yummy. So delicious. Delicious pumpkin pie filling. Oh, yummy. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put the filling. This is what it looks like. And if you don't use the tamper, if you don't use the tamper to push it down, if you don't have a tamper for your blender, just add a little bit more of the liquid from the soaked dates, if you have any, or a little bit of more water. But I kind of just used the tamper because I wanted it kind of thick so it could set. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that in there. And after you're done pouring this, you're going to let this sit in the refrigerator overnight or for a couple hours. In my case, I'm prepping my Thanksgiving dinner right now. So the pies are the first thing that I made. So while I'm prepping my food, my pies will be sitting in the refrigerator. So let's see. Okay, so you're gonna get everything out and you're gonna just go ahead and smooth your pie all over. Smooth the filling, make sure you get it all the way to the sides of your pie as much as you can. And let's see if I can show you guys. Here's the pie. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put the rest, I'm gonna clean out the rest of it that's in there. I'm gonna put it in here, I'm gonna set it there, and I'll be right back so we can make our apple pie. So now we're gonna make our apple pie, our delicious raw, no bake apple pie, and it's really fast and easy. I'm so sorry because of the lighting, you guys. It actually got cloudy outside. I had to close the windows and turn the lights on inside. So that's why the lighting looks a little bit different. Unfortunately, it's not the best. It's better when I use natural light, but I'm going to go ahead and do it with this light and hopefully it'll come out okay. All right, so we're going to do our crust. I didn't wash the processor from the crust from the pumpkin pie because it's okay. You don't have to wash it, or the cups. So I put, this is the easiest pie, I think, to make. Even my grandkids, they make it on their own as well. So you guys love this recipe. So it's 2 cups of walnuts. So you have walnuts, and you're going to put those in the food processor. And you're going to put about 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon powder. Right there. 1/4 of a teaspoon of ginger powder. So we're kind of just making a little spice mix. Like on the pumpkin pie, we could have done all these, but we did the pumpkin pie spice powder because I had that in hand. So if you guys have an apple spice powder, you don't have to do these. So I just put ginger powder in there, the cinnamon and ginger, 1/4 of a teaspoon. I'm putting in less than 1/4 of a teaspoon of allspice, so 1/2 of the 1/4 of a teaspoon, and 1/2 of the 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, only because these spices are a little bit stronger. So there we go. So those 4 spices, and of course, as always, a pinch of salt. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna ground up and this is optional. This just makes the sweetness come out a little bit more on the pies. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. I'm going to pulse this, and as I'm pulsing, I'm going to drop a cup of medjool dates. Now these are medjool dates. I saved my medjool soft dates for the crust. Now when your dates are really hard and dry and they're not medjool, you soak them. Like the ones for the filling are not medjool dates, so I had to soak these. And for the filling, usually you do soak them and drain them. So 1 cup of medjool dates for the crust. And let's see. Oh, I guess I didn't lock this in very well. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna pulse and, oh yeah, that looks good. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop and pulse, and then I'll be back when I'm done with. All right, you guys, so it's all done. And that's what it's supposed to look like a crumble, a little sticky crumble, like this. Oh my God, yummy. I love it. So sweet, so delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and put that in our pie crust. And you guys know the routine. You're gonna even, on this one, you gotta be careful. You have to make sure you put it even all the way around the whole crust, and try to lift it very lightly. Don't press yet. Try to lift some of the crust on the sides of the pie pan, just like so, like I'm doing it. Let's see, I don't know if you guys could see. So I'm just lightly spreading it. That's what I'm doing. I'm spreading it around the pie crust because I want to make sure I have even amounts, because if you start pressing right away, like I did it with the pumpkin pie, you have to really push, and it takes a long time to get the crust done. So if you just like, when it's easier to work with the walnuts actually. So once you spread those evenly all over, because the walnuts move a little bit better, I think, than the almonds. Or if I would have pulsed the almonds on the other crust, it probably would have spread it easier. So there we go, right there. Now at this point, you guys could start pressing. Once you start pressing, it's gonna start forming itself just like a crust, just like this. Press, press. So as you press on the sides, you press the top down with your finger, because you want to make that 1/2 inch. And that's why I use 2 cups of the walnuts and 2 cups of the almonds, because my pie pans are actually a little bit large. So I have the large ones that I got. I think I got them at Marshall's or TJ Maxx. And they're pretty large. They sell them in sets of 2. Okay, so once you do that, you press it very good on the sides with your fingers. Work the whole pie crust all around like that. And if you see like some places that it's a little bit thin, just kind of push from the middle center. Go ahead and push up, and it'll kind of bring the pie crust up a little. So I think this is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. And it is thin on some sides. When it's thin on some sides, you bring it down with your finger, because you want that 1/2 inch right on the end. And the reason you want that 1/2 inch is because when you refrigerate this overnight, or if you could also freeze it, but I prefer to refrigerate it overnight, or make them early in the morning and make sure they've been in the refrigerator for most of the day. When you cut into them, you want to make sure that you're able to get a lot of that crust without it falling apart. So there it is. That's our crust. And what you could do, you could refrigerate this while you make the filling, which I'm going to just go ahead and pop it in the freezer for a couple of minutes, just until I make the filling. Okay, so now we're going to make the filling, and for that, we're going to remove the food processor out of our way, and we're going to use the blender. So bring the blender over here, and what you're going to need is you're going to dice up 3 Granny Smith apples, the green ones. Make sure they're organic, and 1 regular what are they called, Gala apples, 1 regular Gala apples, or if your Granny Smith apples are huge green ones, go ahead and just do the 3 big green ones. But in this case, I had like 3 medium ones, so I used 1 Gala apple. And this is what it should look like. You should dice them up into like little squares. Not so tiny and not so big, squares like that. And actually, the smaller the squares, probably the better, because you could get them in the good little bites. And you're gonna use half of a lemon juice in here. And yeah, just leave it like that. And we're gonna go ahead and make the filling now. So you're gonna need 1 cup of soaked and drained dates. Make sure your dates are pitted, by the way. I haven't mentioned that, I think, for the 2 pies. Always make sure your dates are pitted. So we're gonna put that in there. And we're gonna squeeze, half of, the other half of the lemon in there. Just make sure it's a small lemon. You don't want a big lemon. Just half in there. And we're gonna put some cinnamon in there as well. I would say about 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And let's put a little bit of a pinch of salt, actually. And you can put the nutmeg and the allspice. I'll just put a little bit of that as well, because you want that flavor in the filling too. So this is totally optional. You guys could put whatever spices you prefer in your apple pie. Actually, sometimes I just put cinnamon also. When I make this with my grandkids, they just put the cinnamon if we don't have the spices available at their home. Okay, so just that. Put that aside. Did I put a pinch of salt? A pinch of salt. And so we're going to do that, and we're going to put just a little bit of the water that we actually soaked the dates in, and we're going to blend that together. At this point, I'm going to put a little bit more water, because you don't want to put too much water, because you want this to be a little thick. You don't want it too watery, so be careful when you're putting in the water, so you don't put too much. Okay guys, so there it is. It's nice and thick, like this. That's what you want. You want it kind of thick, because remember, the apples are going to release a lot of the juices when it sits after a while. So you're going to get your spatula. In this case, I didn't wash the one for the pumpkin pie, so we'll go ahead and use that one. It's okay. And I'm going to put all this in here, and I'm going to mix it. You're going to mix it up really good, and since it already has, this tastes almost like a caramel or caramel, whatever you like, however you like to say it. It tastes like it, and it tastes so good. Like caramel apples, actually. That's what the dates make it taste like. And oh, I'm smelling the cinnamon and the spices. It smells just like baked apple pie, even though we didn't bake it. And remember, you guys, this has no flour, no eggs, no butter, no unhealthy fats. All the healthy fats from the nuts only. And your healthy carbs from fruits. So it's all natural. I made it all with nuts and fruits. So what you're going to do is go ahead and mix it up like this. Very well. So it's natural, healthy apple pie, you guys. Nothing artificial in here, and it's all healthy because you guys know exactly what's in it. And it's heart friendly. It's actually also diabetic friendly, believe it or not, because this is the kind of sugar that your body recognizes. and it's not going to turn it into unhealthy sugars in your body. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and taste this. Use this spoon. Actually, my finger. Oh my god, that's so good, you guys. All right, so let me grab my crust. I'm going to go ahead and pour this in there. It's kind of heavy. Oh yeah, that looks really nice, you guys. So once you pour it, what I was actually supposed to do earlier is make leave some of the crumble from the bottom so I could make the topping for the pie. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do the crumble for the So the crust is very easy. Actually, it's the same thing. You just try to make a little bit extra of the crust, the crumble from the crust, and then you could do the topping. But I actually didn't save it. I should have saved it. And that's the one thing I always forget when I make this pie. I always forget to save some of that crumble. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop some walnuts, about a little bit less than a cup of walnuts in there. And since it's very little, I don't think I need to drop hopefully not the dates. I could just put it all in there. A little pinch of salt, and you want to put, in this case, I'm just going to put the cinnamon in there. A fourth of a teaspoon, half of a fourth of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm going to make this into a crumble by pulsing it. That actually looks really, really nice, you guys. Okay, perfect. So just make the crumble like that, just like that, a crumble. And since the pumpkin pie is gonna release a lot of the juices from, oops, there's a big walnut, from the apples, let me show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like once you put it in there. I could have done the little, I could have diced the apples a little bit smaller. But yeah, just go ahead and drop the crumble all around the pie like this on the top. And this one, you're only going to drop it. You're not going to press, and you're not going to try to move any of the crumble. Once it falls, leave it there because it has to set. And what it's going to do, since the crumble's a little dry, it's going to absorb some of the moisture from the apples and the date sauce. And it's gonna taste so delicious. I can't wait till I taste this. This just looks so good, you guys. All right, so I think I pretty much have it all covered. You want to make sure you do cover all the apples because you want the top to look almost like a baked pie, which actually it does. It looks like a baked pie. Every time I make it, everybody thinks I'm bringing a baked pie to a potluck or something. All right, so let me rinse my fingers so I can show you guys. Dry. Okay, so that's what it looks like apple crumb pie. And I do actually have a video on this pie, the whole recipe. You can see it on Living Raw with Rosie. I have the whole recipe for this pie there on that channel as well. So yeah, that's it. That's my apple pie. And let me see, my pumpkin pie's been in the refrigerator for a while. Let me bring that out so you guys can see it. So that's settling in very well in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these two in the refrigerator, and I'm gonna go ahead and start my my food, my Thanksgiving